So the Rebbe is now explaining, the Maimon is explaining the significance of why Torah is given. It seems the number 3 dominates the whole identity of Torah and who gives it and when it's given. And that's because 3, I'm just going to mute you, so feel free to drink your coffee without worrying if you're slurping. So 3 represents a fusion of opposites. 1 is 1. On a deeper level, 1 represents the one Hashem, the world of oneness. And 2 is fracture, is division. And 3 is the conciliation or the fusion of the 2, which is the whole purpose of Torah. Shamayim va'aretz, to bring Torah, which is in heaven, and bring it all down here. So hence, the number 3 dominates. As he says, the number 3 indicates the drawing down of that which is beyond time and space into time and space. And the novelty is that even when it comes into time and space, it doesn't mean it's compromised and it's adapted to time and space, but in time and space, it remains still forever heavenly, which was yesterday's or 2 days ago story. That walking down the street, the Rebbe concluded that the story with the the protests that the locals had with respect to the opening of 770. That walking down the street, it has to be seen in a year that he's different. He's walking down the street, and he's fully aware, but he's within and above at the same time. So now we're up to Kamaikin Nitna. So we're almost halfway down the page. First line.
You mean the line that begins with?
Begins with Ukamaikin, the abbreviation. Ukamaikin Yitna Yadeit Lisoy. So Torah is made up of 3 parts. Torah Nevi'im Ksuvim. Also given through a third born, Moishe Rabbeinu. Shekefishu Neshama Beguf. We're talking about Moishe Rabbeinu, not as his Neshama is Lamaila. But rather as he is in the Guf, not as his Neshama was in Atzilus. That's the whole point. So he too, who Shlishi, is the third. Shaneled Achri Aaron and Miriam, is born after Aaron and Miriam. Again, the number 3, bringing it down here. And this is also why Matan Torah follows Yitzias Mitzrayim. Why did it have to be? So much so that Hashem introduces himself not at Matan Torah, not as the God of, not as the creator, but as the one that took you out of Mitzrayim. Why? Because also is because the whole point is that if Hashem, same question comes, if Hashem would have said, I am your God, your Lord, creator of heaven and earth, so he would go, oh, so the whole thing is to live in harmony with heaven and earth. Be a mensch and commune with nature and appreciate that it all comes from God. Nope, that's not the kavanah. The kavanah is to break the boundaries within the boundaries, to transcend them. So Matan Torah must follow directly on the heels of Yitzias Mitzrayim, and moreover, as just mentioned, that's what Hashem says, who am I? Who took you out of Egypt? That's the point. And to bring that into creation. Pardon? Is there a comment? No. Because then there was the exit, the transcendence of boundaries and limits, the mile and beyond limitation, the idea of 3, because that was revealed where? In Mitzrayim. And furthermore, now frankly, the next few lines, I'm not sure if I'm going to say the right pshat. I looked up the original, the Hanoche, it didn't change from the original one either, and there's no footnote. So let's see. Moreover, there's a moreover here. What's the moreover? All talking about 3. So it says about Yitzias Mitzrayim, being Natzlos Mitzrayim, that the Yidden emptied Egypt. So Rashi brings in the Medrash, they made it like a silo that has no grain. They completely emptied it out. Then Rashi also brings like a net that has no fish. So this explains the two levels, two nitzutzik. I think we learned this. 2 levels of nitzutzik dusha: the silo, the grain, and the fish. The revealed and the hidden. At any rate, so they extracted all of the nitzutzik dusha. Hainu shebidrus Mitzrayim. They refined Mitzrayim. The not limishom is called nitzutzik dusha. And they took out of it all of the divine sparks, all of its wealth and resources, for which they made a mishkan and so on. Now, what's got to do with 3? Hainu shenoisif al yin hakdusha ubir al umazeh. In addition to these 2 things, the kedusha, holiness, that was brought there, ubir and refinement, shehem beis b'chinas, that's 2 levels. Ha'isagam b'china gimel, there was the 3rd level, b'chinas tisoi, which he doesn't spell out, which seems to mean the fact that they took them out with them. So there's one thing it seems to be this is the pshat. They affected 2 things in Mitzrayim. In the words of the Maimon, kedusha and bitter, holiness and refinement. And the 3rd thing is they emptied it, took it with them. I don't know if that's the pshat or not, but there's no source here to any other place where this idea of 3 is associated with Yetzias Mitzrayim itself. So if you have
and how do you and how would you say the previous 3 lines? So that it was also beginnes tlisoi. What was tlisoi?
That's what I'm trying to explain.
No, I'm just not the first, not these last 4 lines. Even the previous 3 lines. V'zehu gam ma shematan Torah ya'achar yetzias Mitzrayim. What is the beginnes tlisoi? Are you trying to explain the
right there?
Or is it something else?
Right there, that tlisoi is that in Mitzrayim, down here in this corrupt world, was a revelation of miracles and higher than limits. So that's the 3.
In other words, iskafia, ishapcha, cleaning out, elevating, and the diffusion of lamalim medida in medida bagbola. Is that what he's trying to say?
That's what 3 means. 3 means heaven on earth. That's what 3 means.
So why can't you apply the same thing to the Eidzais?
He says kedusha and bir is 2 things. What's the 3rd thing? Kedusha in Mitzrayim, refinement of Mitzrayim. That's 2. And so then there was also a 3rd thing. And what exactly is that? It seems
we had the same thing in Yetzias Mitzrayim as we had in Matan Torah. Birur, elevation, cleaning up, elevating, and like you said, bringing heaven on earth there too.
Now, why is not kedusha and birur or birur already the 3rd thing? Why is not kedusha and birur already holiness and refinement in Mitzrayim? So that's the 3 things. You've got the 2 opposites coming together as one. Kedusha and birur in Mitzrayim. That's still not the 3rd thing. The 3rd thing is something that he doesn't say outright, but just flowing from the text, it's taking it out of Mitzrayim.
Maybe this difference between like you could say the first one's like a level of abatement, he's doing the skafia, and then there's a level of elevating the kedusha. That's his hapcha. He could be a tzaddik v'raloi, not completion, and then k'nislisoi, totally refined. That is that's even more than a tzaddik, an incomplete tzaddik, a tzaddik b'toivloi.
I don't know.
And what about from the previous mimer where they said when we get it, it's at 1 level, and when we refine it, we're able to bring it to an even higher level, and so maybe that's the 3rd.
Yeah, something like all of that, for sure. But from the flow of the mimer, it's in the words vayenatzlas Mitzrayim. They took them out. So there's something happening in Mitzrayim, 2 things. And then the 3rd thing is associated with it actually taking them out of Mitzrayim. So it's something along those lines. At any rate, we get the general point, I think. Yep. The general point is the idea of the significance of the number 3, integral to the whole Matan Torah, accomplishment and reality. And the number 3 is this tremendous achievement of having that which is beyond within, and the within is neither imploded nor is the beyond compromised. This is the big chiddush here. In general, this is what it says in Chassidus about this, the number 3, which is of course related to what we're saying, or the underpinning of it all. In general, the number 3 points to the essence of Hashem. 1 is his infinite revelation. 2, that's chesed. 2 is gevura, division. And 3 is that which is higher than both revelation and division. Or, let's rephrase that. 1 is the infinite revelation, 2 is finite, and 3 is beyond infinite and finite. So, Havayu Hu Elikim, God, He is Lord, right? So, what does this mean? Well, the subject in Tanya we're learning now. Hashem Hu Elikim, God, He is Lord. What does this mean? God, He is God. What does it mean? There's many meanings, of course, but Chassidus explains there are 3 words here. Havaya, Elikim, and then Hu in the middle. And as we're learning in Tanya now, in Shara Yichud, what it means is that his infinite revelation and his finite revelation is all equally him. From our perspective, it's not so. His infinite reveals him, and the tzimtzum conceals him. They're not the same. For us, revelation is where we see him, and concealment is when we don't see him. For us, there's this whole, as you're explaining in Shara Yichud, this whole hierarchy, this whole ladder of divinity, closer, further, higher, lower, closer to God, further from God. Not so in truth, we're learning. In essence, Havayu Elikim, which means the infinite revelation, where he reveals himself and where he conceals himself, it's all him equally. Because he utterly transcends both on the one hand and can express himself equally in both on the other. And therefore, with the revelation of this third essence, Anoichi, higher than Havaya Elikecha, the 2 opposites confuse, even though in their own worlds are incompatible. You can't have infinite and finite together. That's true in their own worlds, as it were. But when the essence is revealed, Hashem himself, they're compatible because they're all him. And so the incomprehensible, the unimaginable happens. That finite and infinite become one. And where that is most dramatically expressed is in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, in the Holy of Holies, where the essence is laid bare, where there's space and not space simultaneously. The Aron took up space. It had to have specific dimensions, 2.5 cubits wide and 1.5 cubit deep and 1.5 cubit high. And yet, right there in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, it was there, took up space, and didn't take up space at the same time. Because if you measure from wall to wall, it was 20 cubits, 20 amas, and if you measured from each side of the Aron, it was also 10 and 10, and yet the 2.5 in the middle. So it's 10 plus 2.5 plus 10 equals 20. We can't even imagine what that looks like. It's there, but not there. And we appreciate it. We can't imagine it because we're talking of the gimel, the fusion, and that's what happens in Matan Torah, the fusion of bli gvul and gvul, havaya and elikim, shamayim and other. It's higher than time and time. What that means is that every time we do a mitzvah, or in general, live guided by Torah, knowing God in all our ways, not visible to the naked eye, what we're doing is it's a moment in time, it's a breakfast, it's a coffee we're drinking, it's a piece of parchment, whatever it is. It comes and it goes physically. And there's all the physical limitations. But the emes is that those moments of time and space, which all mitzvahs engage in, are suffused with eternity. We bring eternity to time and space and make them forever. And Mashiach will come, retroactively, we'll see what we did. How all of creation is infinite and eternal, even in its transience. That's the whole point of Matan Torah. So Vizel, all right, continuing, yeah. Ois hey, yes, a question, official. Oh, that's just a wave, a frozen wave. Okay. Vizehu Inyan Gimel HaTorah she'asa b'nei Amadina lemelech. So now going back to the beginning of the Maimar, the Midrashim that were quoted, the second Midrash on Parshas Kedoshim, that 3 crowns, the citizens made 3 crowns. Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh. Echad neitel la'atzmai. What does the king do? One he took to him for himself. The Shnayim noisim b'reish bonav, and 2 of them he placed upon the heads of his children. What's the meaning of this Midrash? The Bnei HaMedina Koyal Bnei Yisrael. The citizens are the Bnei Yisrael. They make 3 crowns. We explained what it means. And now we're getting this. We explained crowns till now. We said it refers to Torah, Avodah, Gemilas Chasodim. But now we're getting more significance of number 3. So 3 crowns, Shem Gimel, Advarim, Torah, Gemilas Chasodim. These are the 3 pillars of Torah, Gemilas Chasodim. And we explained that they're called crowns because the whole point is that in Torah and Avodah and Gemilas Chasodim we go beyond the parameters of its simple rules and structure and rational message. In the words of the Maimar, the previous ois, we connect to the master of the will, not just the will itself, not just the plan, but the master of the plan, the master of the will. That's the crown. So what does Hashem do? Said the Medrash, one he takes for himself. Why is he taking one for himself? Because that is what comes from below to above, as we explained earlier. That is Avodah. Avodah, which is Karbanis, which is davening, which is tefillah, which is man reaching out to God. That's ascent, which is why that remains, as it were, upon the crown of the divine, of the Eibishter. We've offered him all of this, but he takes these 2 crowns and he places them upon us because that's reflective of, this is all about drawing down godliness. This is Torah Gemilas Chasodim, whose movement is primarily downwards. Torah comes down, acts of benevolence. That is the drawing from above to below. Hence, those 2 are bestowed upon us. But as we said, we pointed out in the brackets now, they're not synonymous. The 2 separate crowns, because Torah itself includes above to below. As we said before, the difference between Torah and Gemilas Chasodim is exclusively bestowal. Torah is bestowal too. It's God's divine wisdom granted to us, but then we need to elevate ourselves to learn it objectively and transcend agenda and approach it step by step. It's God's word. In other words, Torah is at once God's words and also ours. This is also, by the way, another dimension to this is Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh. The written dimension of Torah, that's God's words. What's Torah Shebal Peh? That's our words. That's man's analysis, discovery, and even innovation in Torah, which is Melamato Lamaila. So Torah has both movements, from below to above and above to below, which is why there are 3 pillars. So there's one that is exclusively below to above, one below, above to below, and Torah, which is both. Yeah, we're clear. We continue. Yes, friends. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Rabbi.
Okay. So we'll continue. So there's 2 midrashim. The first midrash that he brought speaks of 1 crown, not 3. Simply the crown that his mother crowned him, mother being us, as we crowned the Eibishter on Matan Torah. Then the other medrash was talking about the 3 crowns, more detail. The one that he takes and 2 he gives to us. He is combining the 2, they're complementary. One is more detailed than the other. Right? The second is more detailed. And this is the crown that Eden crowned his mother Whose mother? Melech Shloimeh, which is a reference to Hashem, on the day of his wedding, which is Matan Torah. This is the crown that Hashem takes. Which you're really saying is the crown what? Of Avodah, of davening. The Maimon doesn't spell this out, but it seems that davening is unique, more so even than Torah and Gemilas Chasadim. I'm adding this as a perhaps, and that is that Torah and Gemilas Chasadim, so Torah is not yours. You were given Torah, you learn it. Gemilas Chasadim is also not yours. A person's livelihood and panosa is a gift from Hashem. So when you give it, it's wonderful. You know, you're giving tzedakah, you're doing acts of Gemilas Chasadim. It's very nice, but as we all know, the word tzedakah means the right thing to do. After all, we're just custodians. It's a big test, to be sure, to be able to give tzedakah as we should and to share our blessings with others. It's a huge test. We claim title to it, and halachically we do. We own these things. They are our possessions. If someone takes them, they're stolen. So halacha does recognize that it belongs to us. But at the end of the day, it's being granted. So it's all really coming from Him. Everything comes from Him. But I'm contrasting that to davening. Davening is the one thing that's ours. It's what do you say? This is this is us reaching to Hashem. Davening is the korban. Davening is really the offering of self, and that, in a sense, is most precious. This crown He takes and puts it upon His own head. It's really what you, relatively speaking, are giving. Not the Torah and Avodah is not a big Avodah, and they're also crowns, and it's all the gimbal. It's bringing godliness down to the world. All of this, without question. But the fact is that it's only this crown that God takes, aside from, because this is the crown that's from below to above. The fact that God adorns Himself with this crown and takes pride in it. So what is He saying? Look what my child, my spouse, is not just saying, but how they've connected to me and offering themselves to me. That's most precious. In other words, what's most precious is, give me you. That's davening. Davening is mamish the self. Gemilas Chasadim is giving your resources, and Torah, you're learning what Hashem gave. But the giving of the self, mamish, is in davening. B'chol ma'itcha. Let's continue. So on this, the pasuk says, "Send or eno b'nei Tzion, go out and see your daughters of Tzion." Go out. Where were they to begin with? It's and they got to go out. Well, simple meaning is, it's a public. You're leaving your home. You're going to the grand wedding hall. Matan Torah. The deeper meaning is to end or go out to. We've got to go out of limitations. Canal, as we said before, Matan Torah could only be given after going out of Mitzrayim. If we don't get this straight, it's all about breaking boundaries. And if you think it's about living a nice, neat, little structured little life, or big life, or even grand life, you're missing the point. It isn't about structure and predictability and being nice. But it's about being radical in the most virtuous way, breaking the boundaries. So if you get it, so the pasuk says, to end or go out of limits, then you will see. Then you'll see godliness. You'll start to see me, Hashem says, when you're really ready and willing and do go out of your own limitations. And furthermore, conveyed here is also Tzena, going out, doing Yayitziyah, our golos. So he spoke till now on a personal level, now on a collective level. We'll go out of Golos, and we'll see the emes. This about which this is what it says about when Mashiach will come. The pasuk says, "The nigla kved Hashem, and the glory of God will be revealed. And all flesh will see." And the pasuk goes on to say that the word of Hashem does constantly speak, bringing all of existence, all of creation into existence. And moreover, Gam limudat Torah yos beifin shalariya, and learning and the study of Torah will also be a way of seeing, as we learned 2 Maimarim ago. The etzem of Chachma, Re'iyah, sight. Shalchein Mashiach Yilam Teres Kol Am Yisrael, and that's how Mashiach will be teaching everyone. Because if Mashiach will just be teaching ideas and rational teachings, no matter how deep, so Moishe knows it all. He's going to be teaching even Moishe Rabbeinu and even the others. Kol Gam Moishe Rabbeinu Avraham Avinu. It's not more information to add. It's not information. It's the re'iyah, the beholding, the seeing, the union, the oneness with the likus, which is beyond limit, as conveyed by the notion of, by the metaphor of seeing. The last words of the Maimon, my friends. Last page, you with me?
I have a little question. So basically, he addressed in this little ice.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. I don't know if he addressed the final point on the first ice of this page about oitzos should be seis mitzrayim nemar v'nasas mitzrayim. Over here, he's just addressing the Matan Torah aspect.
Yeah, he didn't. Right. You asking a question?
I'm just making a note.
And now he's concluding, wrapping up the whole Maimer, the whole inyan of Matan Torah, which is the inyan of the Gimel Kavim and the 2 directions, and why Hashem. It's a conclusion of everything we said from the beginning. The words V'zau, and this does not go on the last few words of the previous ois, but V'zau meaning everything we said till now, the whole Maimer. It's a general conclusion. Okay?
Okay.
Here, Rotzen, the last words of the Maimon. I just want to say that, friends, as you should just know, I mention this all the time, that learning Torah, anything, and learning anything in Torah, particularly learning a Maimon, is we're not just simply learning beautiful Maimon that was said, and we're trying to understand it, and hopefully inspired and take this with us into our lives. That too. But learning the Maimon, the author of the Maimon says the Maimon together with us as we say the Maimon. And moreover, the brachas and the empowerment and the amshachas, the drawing down of godliness that the Maimon, each Maimon is a conduit for, happens as each one of us learns the Maimon, and we draw this into our own lives. This is the Gemara says that when you learn Torah, so the author of these words say the words along together with you in the grave. That's the words of the Gemara. In the grave, and not the neshama. Point being, not only the neshama, even the body. I'm quoting from the Gemara here. So his lips are moving in the grave, which means even physically, meaning to say that the teaching and the bracha and the insight, it says new, fresh, now, literally being conveyed now. How privileged we are to be able to be part of this and receive it. We're more than part of it, it's talking to each one of us completely. So likewise in this bracha v'yerotzen, maybe Hashem's will. Shayidei ha'isofa b'teira mitzvahs, through adding in teira mitzvahs. B'akdomas avodas hatfilah, by prefacing it with the avodah of davening, which starts the day. We mean in this, when we say increase in Torah, we mean also increase in Chassidus, in the inner dimension of Torah. And each one of us doing our role in spreading the well springs, which is Chassidus, outside. Niske, we will merit Leilech to go Binoreinu with our young, quoting from the Pasuk, Ubiskeneinu with their elders, bebanenu with our sons, bivneisenu with our daughters, lekabel pnei Mashiach tzidkenu, to receive Mashiach tzidkenu, v'mheida b'yameinu mamish, and very soon mamish. Amen. So tomorrow, based on Hashem, we will give an overview of the Maimah, and I'll see which Maimah to do next. Maybe the next one in Tavshin Chaf, if it's not so dense. And if you have any suggestions, we'll try and go back to what we've been learning. Yep. Okay, so I'll be posting that later on, Be'ez Hashem, on the Chassidus and Fabrengen chat. Today's.
Rabbi, can I just ask a question on the Maimah?
Yes.
So in the second to last paragraph, the last paragraph on page 15.
Yeah.
The atara that she'atra lo imay said that's the keser she'naita la'atzmai. So why? I'm just wondering why specifically in the previous paragraph said that's kava avoda. Why is it specifically in kava avoda? It doesn't seem to spell it out so much, and why that's senura ena? Oh, because it's a. Why is the kava avoda specifically the one that's Yitzia from Mitzrayim, Begvulim, and so on? I mean, it seems like we're mixing a bunch of ideas here that were kind of separate throughout the whole Maimar until now.
Well, the reason he takes this one is because that's tefillah, that's malamata lamayla.
Right.
That's the reason why he takes this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tzena is generic in general for all of them, Taka. It's for all of them, all three of them.
Okay.
That's general. Just but the specific why this crown he takes to himself, the other ones he places on the heads of his children because Aveda is Malamata Lamaila, and the other two, which is another medrash, we are fusing two midrashim together.
Mm-hmm.
The many layers to this, and I think we mentioned one of the meanings of the crown is the Nasav and Nishma that the Yidden said exclusively in connection with Torah, not Aveda. The beginning of the Maimah said that the Maimorim of the previous Rebbeim brought these two midrashim together. The first midrash speaks of one crown. The pasuk speaks of one crown, period. But we are connecting it with, actually there are three. So in more specific, if we get into more detail, it's the one crown that Hashem takes to himself. That's the Avodah of Tefillah, or Avodah. But in general, the Tzena is on all of Torah mitzvahs, the Nasev and Nishma, going out of Mitzvah Magbulim. So you are right, it's the kind of the fusion of these two midrashim. The net result is a Torah, Tzena, going out of boundaries of all three. That's the whole point. The Maimar just explained, really the bottom line of the Maimar is why one of them, the second medrash, he takes to himself, the other two he places down, because this one is Malamata Lamaila, and the other two Malamaila Lamata. I suggested to try and give more insight into your question. So why the focus on this one? Because what's most precious to Hashem, in a way, is that which comes completely from us, as opposed to Torah and Gilot Chasodim, which He gives us and we use properly. Prayer, davening, offering the self, that's completely us. That's the true Malamata L'mayla, and therefore that has a unique nachas and preciousness to Hashem that He takes that crown onto Himself. I added that to try and give more understanding to the uniqueness of this one crown, aside from it being Malamata L'mayla, the technical, that it's, from below to above. You follow? General. Okay, listen, the Maimah has to be learned again and again. The more we learn it, the greater the clarity, no doubt.